The NRA, of course, the National Rifle Association, is the largest gun lobby in the United States. They have now named former convicted felon and illegal firearms salesperson Oliver North as their president. Now, you might be saying, David, what do you mean former convicted felon? You're either someone who is a convicted felon or you're not. And what I mean is that Oliver North was convicted in the Iran-Contra affair in the late 80s. And those convictions were eventually reversed and charges were dismissed. So while he was at one point a convicted felon, he is no longer. But just because the legal system can reverse the conviction doesn't mean that it can reverse Oliver North being a horrible person. And one of the things North did was to sell guns illegally. Do you understand the sick irony of this? The guy who is going to run the biggest gun rights group and gun lobby previously sold guns illegally to Iran and to terrorists. His involvement in the Iran-Contra affair was participating in the sale of weapons to Iran with money passing through shell organizations. And then his later political life has also just been horrible. And the NRA has named him the president, replacing Peter Brownell, who decided not to run for a second term. We heard from Wayne LaPierre. He's the executive vice president of the NRA. He says that the selection of Oliver North as their president is the most exciting news for NRA members since Charlton Heston was president of the NRA. So it's been a while since they've been this excited. Aside from being a convicted felon, a former convicted felon involved in illegal gun sales, North also just represents the idea of government outside of our Constitution, because when he was involved in his illegal gun sales, he was involved in what was a government plot that included money laundering, supplying arms to hostile nations, and in too many ways, it's similar to what we're seeing under the Trump administration, actually. And I even know a few Second Amendment folks here in Massachusetts, not NRA folks, right? Like, they're not extreme Second Amendment people. They often are not even NRA members. They think that this is terrible. They think that this is terrible not only for the NRA itself, but for legal and moderate gun owners everywhere. To have someone like Oliver North with the corruption and criminality that he has in his background, and it's not just general wrongdoing, it's wrongdoing specifically when it comes to weapons. To have this guy leading the NRA is angering even moderate Second Amendment people. And in a way, it's not even that shocking, right? The fact that in a time where Trump said he was going to drain the swamp, and it's been just filling of the swamp, in a time when everything is the opposite, everything that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Democrats have been accused of doing by Trump through his campaign and by Republicans, everything they've accused, they are doing themselves. Why not bring in a guy who has a problem with guns and the law to actually run the National Rifle Association? It's insanity, and it's insanity in how it's not even really that shocking, because there were like 5 bigger scandals just in the last 24 hours.